Abusuan breaking news a ɛba no video me the video ni bi bɛkyerɛw because yɛtete sɛ ɛyɛ allegedly ɔmane boama ɛyɛ den ɛka ho ɔmane boama ɛyɛ den ɛka ho na video no wohwɛ video no mu a play na te ahwɛ but ahye without recognition a abusuan ɛyɛ awerɛhosɛm nti wobɛhwɛ video so ni bi na ɔtie Joy News report ɔmode ban Dr. Ɔmane boa allegedly yes wɔka ho ana report allegedly simunta like we are a wholesome kesiye pa abusuan yenkotie Joy News report no e full video no share na like nti follow story no our Joy News dey basi be very
Ashanti region to be very precise in Obuasi. The Ghana Armed Forces is confirming in just in the last few minutes that there has been an incident involving one of its helicopters called the Z9 helicopter. The Ghana Armed Forces says the Z9 helicopter took off this morning at 19:12 hours from Accra and was headed to Obuasi. Currently, it's off the radar, as is they are not able to establish contact with that particular helicopter. As far as the Ghana Armed Forces is concerned, that helicopter has gone missing. There are currently efforts underway to re-establish contact with that helicopter. We know a few things as of now. As far as this developing story is concerned, there were 3 crew members and 5 passengers on board this helicopter. Now, this comes on the day when there was a major national event in Obuasi itself that several dignitaries were in attendance and several more were billed to be there. Some of them we know were not present at the time that this event was happening. This had to do with the illegal mining menace that the government is trying to deal with. We're getting additional information as far as this developing story is concerned, with the confirmation coming in from the Ghana Armed Forces that it has lost contact with one of its helicopters headed for Obuasi in the Ashanti region this morning, left Accra around 9:12 a.m. They've lost contact, but there are reports that possibly there may have been a crash involving this same helicopter. A major breaking story for us tonight, this morning, that we are following for you. Elton is with me in the studio. We've been working our sources to try to understand a bit more about what has been happening with this. And Elton, a lot of the calls we've made point to a crash.
Right. So, Evans, that's the information we have. This took place somewhere around Adanse Akrofrom in the Ashanti region. And information we have is that the aircraft and its occupants were on their way to this community mining concert that government launched this morning. And it is unclear the passengers who were on board this aircraft and the states that they are in at this very moment. But the pictures and the videos we've seen would confirm that the aircraft came down, caught fire. We've actually seen charred bodies of individuals on the floor. And so the Ghana Armed Forces statement says that they cannot locate the aircraft. What they are not telling us who were on the aircraft at the time it went down and what steps are being taken. But what we can say for sure is that this community mining concept took place. It's actually ended. And high-profile government officials were expected to be there. Indeed, at the program itself, the Lands and Natural Resource Minister was there.
A story, so when we are following this from multiple angles, we'll go to the Jubilee House pretty shortly, because what we understand was that the president himself was billed to be part of the delegation that was supposed to be at this particular event.
What is coming on right now is that there's an emergency news conference in the next 20 minutes coming from the Jubilee House.
So we'll get that for you also as far as this is concerned. But just quickly, reiterating the confirmation that we received from the Ghana Armed Forces, and this is the statement that they issued, that the Ghana Armed Forces helicopter Z9 that took off this morning at 19:12 hours from Accra and was heading to Obuasi is currently off the radar. And this is very technical language that the Ghana Armed Forces is expected to use in circumstances such as this. All efforts, quote, all efforts are being made to establish contact on board with 3 crew and 5 passengers. Further details to be communicated soon. Now, we've got a first hint of some very major incident when the Ashanti Regional Minister, who, by the way, also chairs the Ashanti Regional Security Council, was addressing that event in Obuasi and make this pronouncement. In fact, he confirmed that there had been an emergency. And so he had to depart that particular event abruptly to go and attend to it. Listen to him.
Say me na ma humia yenya emergency bi ma ha esoro ho yakone yeba etimi ne MC fo ni bi ne commanders ni bi ye betu na yakwa ko handle sa emergency ni kakra ministers aka wa chire no mbehwe na adwuma die ne dia aka ni na no ma hwe no ma hyehyɛ e dia ma ye me ye sure say betumi awie emergency problem no ni asaba aba be kam ho ansa na mapo ba ma huye na se awie na me MCs ni bi kwa na nya ne mo ho sem na adwuma bi na aba sesi e wo se yakɔ
and that there is Ashanti Regional Minister. Just confirming, he was speaking in Twi, but basically what he was saying is that he needed to leave abruptly to go and attend to an emergency. The emergency we now know is what the Ghana Armed Forces is now confirming to be one helicopter of theirs, the Z9, that they have lost contact with. Currently, in technical terms, is missing. They are trying to establish contact with this particular helicopter. But reports that we've now had from both our reporters on the ground and other multiple sources say this may be a crash that he now was pointing out as an emergency that he had to now leave this event and attend to. In the next few minutes, we're expecting a major news conference from the Jubilee House. We'll be going there shortly because my correspondent, the presidential correspondent, Max Olababa, is there for us and will be joining us. We'll also be taking you to our reporter who is on the ground. Videos that we are now this with a few the videos that we are now beginning to get from this crash site. And that's what you see on your screens. A lot more needs to be confirmed here because this is developing in very, very fast-paced, fluid story we're beginning to understand a bit more about. First of all, if you're just joining us and wondering what's happening, there is a major breaking story coming out of Obuasi today in the last few minutes, just emerging. That involves a military helicopter that may have had dignitaries on board. Some of them possibly ministers. But we know that there were 3 crew members and 5 passengers on board that helicopter. And that helicopter, we understand now, have crashed. The military says they have confirmed they have lost contact with that military helicopter. That helicopter went, first of all, this helicopter that went off radar. That the Ghana Armed Forces is confirming. Is it the same as what we're seeing the videos of? That's one thing. Second point that, of course, we don't know. The regional minister who chairs the Regional Security Council of the Ashanti region confirmed there was an emergency. And so he abruptly left this event and headed to try and deal with it. And that is understandable because once it's happening in the Ashanti region, and he is the security chair, the regional security chair, such a major security incident, he would have to immediately chair the security, mobilize first respondents, ambulance, the military itself. We need to track and locate this particular helicopter. Also because we had dignitaries on board. These are high-valued individuals who, by the way, I want to go to my colleague Bright. You see him in the vehicle now. Because he's headed to the crash site. And Bright, what can you report? Because you were on the ground covering this event at which this helicopter was headed, right? To which this helicopter was headed. What do you know so far? What are your sources telling you has happened?
As we already know, we understand that a
helicopter that was headed for Obuasi has gone missing. We understand this helicopter was carrying some dignitaries or delegation from Accra to Obuasi. And we already know that Obuasi was hosting the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program that was organized by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. And during these events, during the submission of the Ashanti Regional Minister, that's when we had indication that this incident had happened in the Asokwa municipality, Adansi Asokwa municipality of the Ashanti region. As we speak currently, we are headed to the place. We understand the place is around Sikaman in the Adansi Asokwa area. And so that is where we are headed as we speak now. And we are still trying to find where the helicopter is as of now. And until we find the helicopter, we'll be bringing you subsequent updates what is currently happening on the ground, and the people who are involved, the delegations who are involved, whether there are any government officials involved, and also the number of people that were involved in this particular incident that has happened in the Adansi Asokwa municipality. So as we speak now, we are still headed. We arrival. We only saw the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, that's Emmanuel Kofi Amabua, and also the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amwakohene, coming to this particular event. And right after the submission of the Ashanti Regional Minister, he quickly sought for permission to leave the premises and go attend.
Our reporters are all over this. We'll get Maxwell to talk to us, and that there is Bright, who's heading to the crash site for us to get further clarity on this. I want to bring you the Ashanti Regional Minister confirming the emergency, and we'll get that for you if you're just joining us tonight. The Ashanti Regional Minister has confirmed that there is an emergency, that he had to leave the event abruptly to attend to, and as I've just said earlier, because he's a chair of the Regional Security Council, that is what you expect him to do.
Right.
He had to take this as an emergency, and that is exactly what he had attempted to do. He left, but that program continued. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister sort of held the fort. Right. He was the main character there. The original plan was that the Lands and Natural Resources Minister was supposed to have been surrounded by many more of his colleagues who are part of this joint efforts to deal with illegal mining. And we know the Interior Minister, the Defense Minister, the